Hello, everybody. Back with Bachi's Chronicles, another story. This story is going to be a flashback. It's going to go back to my childhood because I think it's an important part in who I am and how I was brought up, like everybody else. Childhood basically makes a person. So I'll do some effects or maybe black and white. Nah, I don't see black and white. We'll stick with just the way it is. So this is about the 17th, 18th time I've done this video. Now, I made this video 4 days ago, and then I made other videos after it talking about different stories, but I just didn't feel comfortable with this one, so I went back and I've been working on this video for 4 days, 3 or 4 days, and I might say the same stories in other videos. I don't know. I don't even remember what I said in some of the videos that are supposed to be after this one, so I apologize if that's the case, but I was having a lot of problems with this video because I was trying to be proper, polite. I didn't want to offend anybody or disrespect anybody. And by no means am I ashamed or disappointed or anything in my childhood. I had a great childhood. It was different than a lot of people's, but some people have worse childhood, some have better. I mean, what can you do? So I've been working on this video, and I've been trying to figure out how to say things and do things. And I talked to my brother yesterday. And it's just because I'm making these videos. I was talking to him about how I'm doing it, and we don't talk a lot, but talk once in a while. And he came to Japan when I was in the clubs. He came and stayed for about a month. He loved it, had a great time. He saw my life. He saw the things I dealt with. He was there when the guy almost stabbed me, and so he knows. Only a very few members of my family have been to Japan to see me. My nieces and nephews mostly. It felt good to have him here to see, this lifestyle. But I was talking to my brother, and I told him I was doing this. He said it's a great idea. He really loved it. He'd love to see, hear the different stories because he knows a lot of them. But we don't talk a lot, so it's fun to be able to know what somebody's up to when you don't see him. But he said something, and he told me, he was like, "But one thing, my advice to you is be honest and be direct about your childhood, about how you were brought up and how you were raised and the good and the bad, because I think that's an important thing that people should know when they see who you are, where you are now, and what you're doing and stuff." So I mean, he didn't know I was struggling with this, so it was good advice at a good time. So I'm going to try it again, but this time I'm going to take the gloves off and try to be as direct as possible. Now, one thing, please. My childhood wasn't, silver spoon. I didn't have, Ferraris and Lamborghinis and driving around. But I'm happy now. I'm in Japan. It's a beautiful day. Corona, the lockdown has been lifted. People are out and about. Work, things are starting gradually come back. I'm in a beautiful Range Rover. So by no means am I disappointed in my childhood. It put me here, and I can't be happier. I mean, I have what I want. I mean, I'm pleased with myself. So that being said, let's get into it. I'm sorry these videos are going to get long. I might have to break this up into 2 parts because every time I do it, it just gets longer and longer. So, my childhood. When I was younger, I was born in Springfield, Missouri, but we moved to California when I was extremely young, probably kindergarten or so, and we lived with my brother's father. And we lived in a beautiful house, and we had a swimming pool and everything. It was like amazing. You jump in the pool, hot day. And my grandpa had a stroke, my mother's father. So she had to move back to Missouri to help take care of her dad and help support her mother and stuff. So me and my sister and my mom moved to Missouri, and my brothers and their father stayed in California. Totally fine. We get to Missouri. Now we're in government housing, I guess, welfare. My mom did all she could to make ends meet, but she's a single mom, 2 kids. We went back there with nothing. And I'm sure there's a lot of details that I don't know about because I was only a kid. I'm sure there's stuff that maybe, I don't know. I don't care. So I just know my mom worked hard and made sure that we had food no matter what the situation was. We always had something to eat. It might not have been Kobe steak. We might have been eating, a stew for 3 days, but it was food. And I'm alive and I'm healthy. So that stew was amazing. But So we're on public, we're in public housing, and we're on welfare and stuff. And because of that, I have to go jump. We jump around a lot. We move to houses a lot. I don't know how many times we moved during my childhood, but I went to different schools all the time. And I'd stay 1 year here, a year and a half there, 6 months here. And I don't think I was ever at the same school 2 years. It was always a year and a half. I think it's because the housing, the system, you can only stay for so long, and they have to rotate you out. So I remember one time my mom had remarried, and he was a preacher because she thought it would be good to have religion in our lives, and she was a very religious lady. So he was a preacher. Now, just because you have a title doesn't make you the person. You have to be the person to be the person. I don't know if that makes sense, but just because you can fly airplanes on a video game doesn't make you a pilot. Anyway, so he was a preacher, but he got drunk and he broke my mom's finger. I want to say it was her finger or something. So we had to go to the hospital, and she had to get a cast or whatever. When we got home, the house was in flames. He poured gasoline over the house and burnt it down. I mean, I don't know, maybe they're fighting about the stew. I have no idea, but he burnt down our house. Now, you don't know what you've lost or what you're missing until you've lost everything. When you were back then it wasn't digital, so you lose your pictures, they're gone, they're done. There's no way to get those pictures back. We lost all our pictures. My mom lost all her photo albums, and I think she had a guitar from her younger brother who had passed that I was named after, and I think she lost that. I think that hurt her more than anything because it was his, the only thing she had of him. So anyway, we lost everything, and we were bouncing from house to house, staying with cousins and uncles and whatever we could find until we got back on our feet. Goodwill, I mean, these kind of places, they helped us out a lot. Clothes, anything, toys, broken toys. But hey, when you're a kid, if you can play with it, it doesn't matter. A stick is a rifle when you want it to be. And so that was one instance. And of course, I was a kid in school at the burnt down house, but just another reason to get picked on, I guess. And I remember that same house. I remember I was climbing trees one time, and I fell out of the tree, broke my arm. I mean, I hit the ground, the roots were sticking out, and like 3 places broke, and my bone was like popped up, and here was popped out. And so of course I ran to my house screaming, and my mom, rushed me to the hospital, and it took all day. I remember it was taking all day, and I had to get this cast on, and it was just horrible experience. And I'm thinking, because the cast costs money, doctors cost money. Yeah, we were on government support. Of course, the insurance, government, whatever, they helped us out through that. They paid for it. I don't know what the costs were. I was just a kid. But I know, I'm thinking to myself, I made my mom waste money. So a few months later, after I get my cast off, I'm back in a tree. I was a kid. We didn't have Nintendos. We didn't have Wi-Fi. We didn't have anything. It was climbing trees and playing hide and seek and poison ivy and BB gun war games. You just hope you don't hit somebody in the eye. I mean, this was my childhood. And my mom was very strict. I mean, she had no problem whipping that ass when something went wrong, or you did something stupid. So had to be home by street lights. My mom was very strict. So anyway, I'm climbing a tree again and playing around. We tried to build a tree house. Just, it was nothing. And I fell out of it. I broke my arm. Same thing. Bam, bam, same spot. Because I'm sure the bones were still weak. And I don't want to tell my mom. I'm worried about the cost. I'm worried about, finances. I'm worried about her getting mad at me. And I definitely don't want to get the belt for breaking my arm twice. I mean, I thought I was totally wrong on this. So I tried to hide it. And I think my sister might have said something to my mom, or my mom noticed that my arm wasn't moving or something, just kind of like this for like 2 or 3 hours. And finally she asked what was wrong. And I mean, you could see once you lifted my arm up that it was wrong. So we go back to the hospital, get another cast put on. But this time, because I waited so long, they had to re-break it. And if you've ever been through that, you know what I'm saying. But if you haven't, do not ever do this. I was a kid, but I still remember it hurt a lot. So what they did is they stick my fingers in these Chinese handcuffs. And they tied weights to the bottom of my arm to pull my bone back down. And my fingers just stand there. I'm just here for it felt like days, but it was probably maybe 20, 30 minutes, maybe in 40, I don't know. So the doctor comes in and he pulls on the bone a little bit and he pops it back in, he pops it back in. And it was a horrible, horrible pain. And I got recasted. And I go back home, and of course my mom's disappointed, breaking my arm twice. And I'm just thinking, how much money did that cost? Just horrible feeling. But then I go to school, and the teacher looks at me, one of the teachers look at me, and she's like, you broke your arm again? And I was like, yeah, climbing a tree. And she's like, but you said that last time. I was like, because I was climbing a tree last time too. So I'm a kid, so I don't realize the questions that the teachers are asking me is leading to something. And I'm just answering them, but she's like, you said that last time. Do you climb trees a lot? Do you fall out of trees a lot? I'm a kid, I'm a boy, of course I do. That's all we have around our house is trees. So guess what? They called family services. Family services come to my house, talk to my mom, and of course, she showed them the tree I fell out of. And I get home, and my mom's mad because the school club, and she thinks that I'm telling people she's beating me. I mean, she could beat me, but it wasn't to the point back then of calling the family services. So that was an awkward situation. And after that, the house burnt down and we moved anyway, so got to a different school. And then after that, moved to Michigan. And how many minutes are we on? 11. So we moved to Michigan with my mom's boyfriend, and I hated that place so much. I'm sure Michigan is a wonderful state. I have no idea, but where I lived was horrible. We lived in a trailer park that was about I want to say a few miles from the city sewage, and I don't know what the legal limit is, but we were definitely at that limit. And so if the wind changed directions, that's all you smelled all day was the city sewage. It was horrible. And the school bus stop was right by the sewage place, like in that area, so that's all you smelled. And to even make things even worse was there was a kidnapper or a serial killer, somebody around that area at that time. So all recesses were only indoors. You could not go outside for recess. With school, you had to go straight to the school because of kidnappings or whatever. So we spent every recess, every day in the classroom playing board games and checkers and Parcheesi or whatever games are available, dominoes or jacks or whatever it's called. And see, one thing about me is because I traveled to all these schools, I went to all these schools so much, I got good at reading the room. I got good at telling what people to be around, what people not to be around, and who to trust and not to trust. And I don't think I've explained this yet because I've done this video so many times. So, I got good at that. And you go to the yard and you see who's in what corner and what area, and that's, you blend in. I was a jack of all trades. I love sports and movies and games and toys and all this stuff. So if I heard somebody talk about something I could get in on, I'd jump in and I made friends. And the reading and music is the only thing I wasn't really into. So, but I could always fake it till I make it with that one. And so I moved to this school in Michigan, and the classrooms are indoors. So there is no breaking up in groups. It's just everybody's there. All 25 kids are in the same little space. So I was bullied and picked on so bad. I was just the outcast, and where I lived was an embarrassing area. They made fun of me. You get off at the sewage stop, things like that. And then to even make things even worse than that, after school, the challenge after school was at the bus stop. If I could get off the bus first, if I was able to sit up front in the front seats and get on the bus early enough, then I could run off the bus quick enough that I could run to my trailer before I got jumped and beat up and bullied or whatever. If I didn't, and if I'm on the back of the bus, the whole thing, the plan was when the kids would get off to bully me and jump me, they would go get ready. And I was a Navy SEAL excursion going through all these, trying to sneak around buildings and running and jumping over whatever, running through dogs, chained up dogs, hoping that they, attack the people coming after me. And they catch me, they throw me on the ground, they rub dirt in my face, and, they kick me or whatever they did. It was what it was, and I remember it like it was today. And this thing, I never told my mom. I never told anybody because I didn't want to add that extra stress to my mom. I didn't want her to, because I knew she didn't want to be there either, and we were there because we had to be there because of work-related stuff. And so I just took it, and then we didn't stay long after we moved. We moved back to Missouri, and it was over. It was just a time in my life that it was just horrible. I hated that place. I don't know how many times I got thrown down in the dirt and kicked or whatever. And bullying is a serious thing. Because I didn't want to add extra stress to my mom, I took it. But that's not how everybody is. Some people can't take it. Some people So don't bully. It's just, I mean, it was horrible. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I am definitely much stronger. And after that experience, going through school, I never even considered bullying anybody. If a kid was getting bullied, I tried to protect him. I tried to help him. And all through elementary, of course, I'm nobody special. But when we got into junior high, I played football my freshman year and junior high, my 7th grade year. And then in 8th grade, we moved to the rival junior high, which they hated me because I was from the other junior high. And so that didn't work out very well. And then from there, I went to the high school. So I think I'll cut it off there for my childhood side. I'll go into the high school after this one. So far, I feel comfortable with this video. We'll see later if I use it or not. Hopefully, I'm tired. I need to move on from this, but I don't want to disrespect anybody. My mom did a great job. I'm happy with my childhood. I love everybody. My family was amazing, and like I said, look at me now. I can't complain. Beautiful day in Japan. Nice car. What more could I ask for? So, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry it was a little bit of a darker video, but like my brother said, this is important. This is what made me. So thanks again for watching, and look forward to the next episode. I'll talk to you later.